Bob went scuba diving for his birthday. He got to see the rich marine life of Florida's ocean, but when he was down there, he hit his head on a coral reef. Now, it turned out that Bob was fine, except for the fact that he had lost a bit of his short-term memory. When he arrived home, there were 3 beautiful women waiting for him. Hey, it was his birthday. They all claimed that they were his wife. Well, take a look at the image. Can you help Bob figure out who is really his wife? It's the second woman on the right. If you look closely, you'll see she's wearing the same gold ring that Bob's wearing. Henry is the CEO of his own company. Have a look at the picture. One of these ladies is Henry's sister. Can you figure out who? Although he's looking at the woman on the right, his sister is on the left. They both have the same birthmark on their necks. Good eye, if you caught that. There was a recent break-in at Mr. Frank's grocery store. Luckily, the security cameras captured everything. Mr. Frank called in Detective Harper to crack the case. Harper noticed one small but very important detail that solved the mystery. Take a peek at the images Detective Harper reviewed. Can you figure out who the thief is? Let's see. That guy is just carrying around a baguette. The one near the fridge has normal groceries in her cart. And the last guy is holding a lettuce in his hands. But hey, take a look at the lettuce. It has such a weird shape. In fact, it has a banana inside of it. That guy was trying to sneak out with a banana and a lettuce. He's the thief, definitely. And a weird one. It's finals week at Crestwood Academy, and the tension is sky high. Check out the classroom and see if you can figure out who is cheating. It's the student with the smartwatch. He's looking at his watch to get the answers to the exam. Mrs. Bells has 3 sons. She is the best cook in the family, and she loves to make her family amazing dinners. Her sons love her, but say she keeps giving the best food to her favorite son. Examine the image carefully. Can you figure out who is her favorite son? It's the one in the middle. While all the other boys have a food plate in front of them, the little guy in the middle is already eating dessert. She gave him the best first. Bibi, Jenna, Miriam, and Jackie were called to the CEO's office for a meeting. It started to rain just before the meeting, and one of the ladies got in at the last minute. Their shoes got wet, and they stained the boss's carpet. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who stained his carpet? It was Miriam, the third lady in the middle. She is the one wearing high-heeled shoes, and if you look closely, that's the shape that matches the footprints. It was Paula's wedding, and everyone was beyond excited. One of the bridesmaids just caught the bouquet and was happily talking to the other ladies about it. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out which one of them caught it? It's the lady on the left. If you notice, she's surrounded by bees, who were attracted by the flower's pollen. It was Ricky's birthday, and he invited his best friends to go camping with him. The weather was perfect, so they decided to get a group picture next to the lake. Take a look at the picture. Can you figure out which of these 2 people are a couple? If you look closely, the first girl on the left and the boy in the middle have matching tattoos. They have a cute little heart tattooed in different parts of their bodies. They're definitely a couple. Sarah is getting married, and she invited her bridesmaids for a dress fitting. One of the bridesmaids is pregnant, though. Can you figure out who? Oh, it's the lady eating the pie, of course. She's definitely having one of those irresistible cravings. Sandy and Priscilla met for afternoon tea, and one of the ladies took Jake, her younger son, along. Can you figure out who Jake's biological mother is just by looking at the picture? It's Sandy, the woman on the left. She's got the same hair color as Jake. Jenny's living large, and Lana's just scraping by. Take a look at the snapshot of both of them in their apartments. Can you tell who's who? Lana's on the left. Even though her place looks pretty stylish, all the decor still has the price tags on it. She's probably planning to return everything after snapping that picture. Alex and Jordan finally decided to get married after dating for 5 years. On their wedding day, just before the ceremony was about to start, Jordan asked Alex to grab a bracelet from her dressing room, the one he gave her on their first anniversary. But when Alex walked in, something super weird happened. 3 Jordans were standing before him, all looking exactly the same. Since Jordan's uncle was a bit of a mad scientist, Alex immediately suspected he'd cloned her. Take a look at the picture. Can you figure out which one is the real Jordan? It's the third one. She's got the same bracelet that Alex always wears. Looks like Jordan's uncle forgot to clone that small detail. Alfie told Jen he'd been assigned to a top-secret mission in a remote desert. Just couldn't keep it secret, I guess. Super excited about the opportunity, they decided to try out a long-distance relationship. Jen asked him to send lots of photos, and he did. But after seeing the pics, Jen realized something was off and called it quits. How did Jen figure out Alfie was cheating? One of the last pics that Alfie sent had palm trees in the background, but there aren't any palm trees in the desert. Plus, the photos of the animals, there were kangaroos and koalas, which definitely don't live in the desert. Looks like Alfie faked the pics and wasn't where he said he was. Oh, and in one of the photos, there's a lipstick smudge on his shirt. Uh-oh. Ed's mom was responsible for overseeing the catering of his wedding. She went inside the kitchen to check if everything was okay, but came outside screaming. Can you guess what made her so mad? Look at the top of the cake. There are 2 statues of creepy-looking elves instead of the bride and groom. She wanted them to fix that immediately. Your cousin invites you to an amusement park called Funland's Frenzy. When you arrive, the ticket seller says there's a rule you must figure out before you can enter. They give you a few clues. At Funland's Frenzy, there are roller coasters, but no bumper cars. There is cotton candy, but no popcorn. There is pizza with cheese, but not pizza with sausage. Can you figure out the rules of Funland's Frenzy just with this info? The rule is that only things with double consonants are allowed. So, cotton candy, roller coasters, and pizza are in, and the rest are out. 2 detectives, Jake and Olivia, have recently been promoted and transferred to the capital. And now, they need to prove to their new, not-so-friendly colleagues that their skills are more than enough to work there. How about we help them? While investigating their new case connected to the activity of an infamous gang, Jake and Olivia uncover a series of terrible traps set up in one of the gang's warehouses. The criminals apparently store dangerous chemical and biological agents there. The detectives come across 3 glass containers. To their horror, people are trapped inside, each facing a different threat. Unfortunately, the detectives can only save one person because they don't have enough time. Jake and Olivia must analyze who is in the greatest danger and act accordingly. Can you help them? The green gas is, in fact, non-toxic. It's just colored smoke meant to create the illusion of danger. The woman inside this chamber seems totally fine, just a bit scared. The guy in the chamber with a few bees is only at risk if he is allergic to their stings. This makes the man in the chamber with those creepy rats the priority. He is in the most immediate and genuine danger. After saving the trapped people, Jake and Olivia follow the gang's track, and it leads them to India. They find themselves in a busy marketplace in Mumbai. Suddenly, the detectives notice someone who seems suspicious to them. Can you figure out which person they have paid attention to? See that man wearing a warm jacket? The day is scorching, and Jake and Olivia are covered with sweat. So, such a large jacket likely means that the man is hiding something inside. Our detectives manage to detain the man and find a bundle with diamonds in a secret pocket and a map with a marked location. The map takes Jake and Olivia to a seemingly abandoned warehouse, but soon our detectives find proof that this location is connected to an international criminal syndicate involved in artifact smuggling. They find a jumbled-up picture that seems important. The image is scrambled and hard to identify, but solving it could help them understand where the criminals are planning their next move. Can you figure out what this picture is and where it's from? Upon careful examination, Jake and Olivia realize that the picture shows the pyramids of Egypt. This makes them think that the criminals are planning to steal valuable ancient artifacts from an Egyptian tomb or museum. After informing Egyptian authorities, our detectives return to their home city. A new tricky case is already waiting for them. While they were away, their colleague Clark got into a car accident and lost his memory. When he came around, doctors told him he was supposed to recover his memories, but not all of them. The worst thing about this situation is that Clark knows, or should we say used to know, a very important code needed to open a safe with super-secret documents only a few detectives have access to. Jake and Olivia are among those who need the documents urgently. They decide to help Clark recollect the code. After searching the guy's home, they find a note with some hints about how to crack the code. The password consists of 5 numbers. The first number is 3 times bigger than the fifth. The third number is smaller than the second by 3. The fourth number is bigger than the second by 4. 3 pairs of numbers add up to 11. Can you help our detectives to understand what this crucial code is? The code is 65292. The only way to figure it out is to use the substitution method. This way, you can come to the conclusion that there are only 3 suitable pairs of numbers adding up to 11 and meeting all other requirements: 6 plus 5, 2 plus 9, and 9 plus 2. Matthew, the owner of a big company, comes to work one day and, as usual, switches on his computer. A few seconds later, He discovers that all the data connected with the super important deal has been erased from his computer. He calls the police, and Jake and Olivia come to investigate. It turns out that 3 people have come close to Matthew's computer, and our detectives question them all. Sydney, the accountant, tells them that the computer was frozen. She just pressed several keys on the keyboard and everything started to work normally again. William, the IT specialist, claims that he only updated the antivirus software. He did it remotely and didn't even touch the computer. Laura, the secretary, says she was with William. The only thing she did was restart the device. Jake and Olivia take fingerprints from the computer and around it, and that's what they discover. Can you figure out who deleted the files? Look, there aren't any fingerprints on the keyboard. It means Sydney lied. She is behind the disappearance of the files. It's Jake's birthday. Olivia decides to splurge and present him something he's been dreaming about for ages, a motorbike. Jake is on cloud 9. The next morning he rides his bike to work and leaves it at the parking lot. During a coffee break, the detective decides to check on his motorbike. Imagine his horror when he finds out that someone has broken the mirrors. The security guard tells Jake that only 3 other people left the building in the afternoon. They were John and Liam, 2 best friends, Jake's colleagues, and Nina, the secretary of their division. Jake suspects that the girl likes him. John tells our detective that he and Liam went to a nearby cafe to get sandwiches for lunch. Liam confirms this and adds that Nina might have damaged the bike out of jealousy. But Nina tells Jake that her mom visited her, and they spent an hour together. Help Jake understand who is lying. Have you noticed that John has a paper bag with food delivery written on it in his left hand? The guys must have ordered their lunch, not bought it in the cafe. Liam and John broke Jake's bike and tried to frame Nina. The next day, neither John nor Liam are police officers anymore. But Jake and Olivia still are. That's why they're sent to deal with a terrifying case. In the middle of a long flight, 2 criminals stood up and started to threaten the crew and passengers. They demanded $1 million and a helicopter. One of the criminals had a pilot's license and could fly a copter. So the plane lands at the nearest airport, where Jake and Olivia have already put their clever plan into action. The criminals get everything they requested, a case full of money and a helicopter. They get inside, but for some mysterious reason, the copter stays put. In no time, the police capture them. Have you understood what Jake and Olivia's plan was and why the criminals couldn't start the machine? Keep in mind that the helicopter didn't have any technical problems. The helicopter was okay, but there was no fuel in the tank. After this dangerous case, Jake and Olivia get an award, a cruise on a luxurious liner. But they wouldn't be the best detectives in the city if they didn't stumble upon a new tricky case. During their evening stroll, they find a very expensive watch on the deck and ask the cruise liner security to announce it on the radio. Soon, 4 people show up to pick up the watch. Each of them claims it's their watch. Jake and Olivia look at the people attentively, and without exchanging even a word, agree on who the watch belongs to. Can you figure it out too? The man does have a watch tan line, but it's much larger than the watch the detectives have found. This young girl already has a watch on her left hand, Why would she wear the second one? The elderly lady must be very absent-minded. Her tiny dog is wearing her watch as a collar. So, the watch must belong to the teenager.
Detectives Tim and Anderson had just been handed the most cryptic mission of their careers. No one at the agency could even tell them where they were heading. All they got was a coded message and a map with only continent names labeled. "Look closely at the map," their handlers said. "Add a direction to one of these continents, and you will get the name of the country where you're going. Can you help them to figure it out?" It didn't take them long to crack it. The direction was south, and the continent was Africa, because adding south to Africa gave them South Africa. Bingo! Now they are definitely sure where they're supposed to go. Their next set of instructions would come from an informant during the flight, so they boarded and spotted 3 men sitting next to them. Can you tell which one is their guy? Look, this man is holding a suitcase marked with a small emblem from the detective agency. Which, by the way, is the same emblem Tim and Anderson have on their suitcases. This is definitely the informant. They walk over, and he discreetly handed them a slip of paper before slipping back into their seats. The note was supposed to contain the name of their main suspect, but they quickly realized that it was also encoded. Thankfully, Tim remembered an old trick from their agency. Each vowel matched up with a number. That means the letter A corresponds to the number 1. The letter E is 2, I is 3, O is 4, and U is 5. Now it is time to crack the criminal's name. The name is spelled out as Nico Nacho. Of all names, Nico Nacho, Anderson chuckled, but they knew better than to underestimate him. Nico was notorious in the underworld for his crafty disguises and dangerous alliances. When they touched down in South Africa, they found out that Nico ran a restaurant as his cover. A taxi driver agreed to take them there, but only if they guessed which of the taxis belonged to him. Then, he handed him this encoded message. Can you tell which taxi the detectives should choose among these 3? These strange symbols are mirrored numbers. If we cut the upside-down triangle, we get the number 7. Cut the 8 and we get the number 3. Do the same with this weird heart-shaped symbol and it becomes number 2. So the correct taxi is the one that has the number 7327 on the license plate. Tim and Anderson finally arrive at their destination, but there are 3 restaurants on this street, and each one has really bizarre names. The restaurant signs read Okan, Atsap, and Silrag. Can you guess which one belongs to Nico's criminal network? A quick flip of the words told them everything they needed to know. Reading it backwards, Silrag turns into garlic. Atsap is pasta. And Okan spells nacho. Wow, just like Nico's last name. Yep, this is definitely the place. They walked into the shady restaurant, but to be honest, it looked pretty ordinary. So they asked the manager to check the security camera footage from the night before, after the place closed. The manager looked nervous, but she agreed. Then she showed them the footage from 2 different cameras that captured the empty restaurant from different angles. Then, suddenly, Tim shouted, "Wait! Pause here! Play it again!" Can you figure out why he decided to rewind the footage? Both cameras had the same timestamp, but one showed the piñata hanging from the ceiling moving, while in the other one, the piñata didn't move at all. A possible explanation is that the criminals erased some footage, so the video looks like it's paused. And look over there. In this footage, they can see a sketchy door. Something is definitely up with that. Maybe they wanted to hide who went in there. Tim and Anderson get inside that door and spot a staircase leading to the basement. Heading down, the stairs seemed to stretch endlessly. When they reached the bottom, they were confronted by a chilling sight. 3 cages, each containing a captive surrounded by dangerous animals. So the 2 of them got a message on their phones that said, "You can save only one. There is no time to save them all." In the first cage, a person stood stock still as crocodiles swam beneath, their beady eyes watching, waiting. In the second, tigers paced and growled, tense and ready to pounce. In the third, a network of snakes slithered around the feet of the captive, coiling and hissing. Tim and Anderson had to think fast. Who will they save first? Let's see. Crocodiles are not as aggressive unless provoked. The snakes are likely venomous, but as long as the person stayed calm, they'd have a little time. The tigers, though, they were actively circling, clearly hostile, and seconds away from attacking. They had to make a call, and fast. In a split second, they went for the person surrounded by tigers, pulling them free just as one of the tigers roared. But they got the person out in time. Phew! Sorry, but the other victims will have to wait a bit longer to be rescued, because when they looked back, the detectives saw a hooded suspect sneaking out of the basement. Tim and Anderson took off running after him. They chased him hard until the suspect reached a dead end. The detectives shouted, "Stop right there!" But then they realized they were actually the ones who were in danger. But how? Take a look at the floor. There are only 2 detectives, but there are 4 shadows on the ground. That means there are 2 people right behind them. Tim and Anderson froze in fear, but they didn't have time to think. Suddenly, a group of tough guys surrounded them. "You think you can just come in here and mess with Nico's operation?" one of them asked. And then he said that Nico Nacho would see them, but only if they could solve a riddle to prove their worth. He handed them a note that said, "I belong to the month of December, and not to any other month. I am not a holiday. What am I?" What the criminals didn't know was that Tim was a pro at riddles. He immediately realized the answer was the letter D, since no other month has that letter. They finally made it to Nico Nacho's mansion, but their problems were far from over. There was a really angry dog at the door growling at them. The detectives knew they were in deep trouble. Anderson thought out loud. "What should we do? Run for it, raise our hands, or grab a bottle of water?" Now tell us in the comments, what would you do? Got any advice for them? Running or raising their hands could freak the dog out even more, making things way more dangerous. The smart move is to grab the water bottle and throw it far away so the dog goes after it, giving them a chance to sneak into the house. And that is exactly what they do. As soon as they step into the main room, Tim and Anderson take in the decor, glance at each other, and realize something feels really off. What did they notice? See that picture on the wall? That is not Nico Nacho. That guy is the informant. Yep, the one who was on the plane with them. But wait, that makes zero sense. Can someone please tell them what is going on? Suddenly, a bunch of their fellow detectives burst into the room, clapping and congratulating them. This time, they weren't after Nico Nacho. Turns out, Tim and Anderson's super-secret mission was actually a huge prank by the detective agency, because they were celebrating their 100th case. They wanted to mark the occasion with some special puzzles, riddles, and of course, a bunch of very professional actors. Are you ready to flex those brain muscles and level up your smarts? Let's start. You're in a dark room with 3 light bulbs. There are 3 switches in the corridor. Your task is to figure out which switch controls which light bulb. How many times do you need to open the door to do it? Actually, just once. Turn on 2 switches at the same time, and after a while, turn off the second one. Now enter the room. 1 light bulb is still on. The first switch controls it. Now all you have to do is touch the remaining bulbs. The warm one is linked to the second switch, and the cold one is controlled by the third. A guy likes a girl and wants to know how old she is. She smiled mysteriously and said, "Yesterday I was 22, and next year I'll be 25. Can you guess when the girl's birthday is and what date this took place? I'm sure you figured out the conversation took place on the 1st of January, and the girl's birthday is on the 31st of December. When she says yesterday, she means the 30th of December, when she was 22. She turned 23 the following day. And since they were talking on the 1st of January, she will indeed be already 25 a year from that day. The detective stormed into the lab just in time to stop the theft of a groundbreaking secret formula. 2 women stood under the harsh fluorescent lights, both dressed as scientists. But the detective knew one was the real deal and the other a clever thief with plans to swipe the priceless formula. One woman clutched a folder filled with papers. She had her ID badge clipped to her coat. The other one held a flask. So who's the thief? The detective noticed one subtle detail. A pair of pristine white gloves peeking out of the pocket of one of the ladies. Real scientist gloves don't stay clean for long in a lab. The spotless gloves were a giveaway. This lady wasn't experimenting. She was staging a heist and trying to leave no fingerprints behind. The detective decided to rest at the park. Suddenly, he heard a young girl crying. She told him someone stole her puppy of a rare and expensive breed. 3 people nearby are acting suspiciously. 2 women and a man. The first woman is holding a leash and claims it belongs to her own dog. The second woman is holding a bag of dog treats and says she has no idea what's going on. The man says he's just out for a jog and saw nothing. Who is hiding the truth? The detective notices it instantly. The first woman holding the leash is suspicious. It makes sense for someone to have a leash if they own a dog, but this leash is unusually clean and unused, with no signs of wear or scratches on the metal clasp. The second woman with the dog treats probably brought them to feed stray dogs or train her own pet. And it looks like the man isn't lying and really doesn't have anything to do with all this. The doctor gave her patient 4 pills of 2 types, 2 pills of each type. It's impossible to tell one from another, but it's important that the patient takes one pill of each type in the morning and the same in the evening. If he does something wrong, it could cost him his life. And yep, the pills got mixed up, and only you can save the patient's life. Can you figure out how to take the pills now? Just go back to the doctor and ask for more pills. Well, maybe it could work out in real life, but we're flexing the brain muscles here, so no. The patient will have to split each pill in half and take half of each pill in the morning and evening. A priceless crown arrived at a museum, and by priceless, I actually mean worth millions of dollars. It was still not on display, and only employees knew it was there. So when the crown went missing, the boss knew one of them had stolen it. She gathered all the staff in the exhibit room and told them she knew how to find the thief. Each of them had to walk past a special painting while the lights were turned off. The painting would scan everyone and reveal a faint glow when the thief passed by. The painting didn't glow at all during the procedure, but the boss knew exactly who had stolen the crown. How did she figure it out? The thief was the only one who hadn't walked past the painting. They believed it would glow, although their boss just made it up. A time traveler from the future accidentally stepped into the wrong portal and landed in our time. The portal he used has closed and he's stranded. He searched for a way to reopen it and noticed a strange message glowing on a screen nearby. How can he use this to reopen the portal? Did you notice that huge clock on the wall? The traveler must rotate the clock's hand, both the hour and minute hands, to align at the points mentioned in the note. He carefully set the hands at the right time, one after the other. When he aligned them one last time, the portal reopened and he stepped back into his time. Look at this beautiful family. One of these kiddos is named Kyle, and he's standing at the edge. If Liz were standing next to Sam, Paul would end up next to his namesake. Can you tell who's standing where? Liz is definitely not standing next to Sam. For her to be next to Sam, the girl would need to stand in the second spot from the left. Then, two namesakes would be next to each other to the right. So here they're from the left to right. Kyle, then Sam, Paul, Liz, and the second Paul. You're standing in front of a locked door. Your best friend is trapped on the other side. Whoa! Something is popping up on the screen. There's a hammer, a puzzle piece, a flashlight, and a rope. It looks like you must solve this riddle to rescue your friend. I hope you figured it out, because your bestie is pretty scared. It's the flashlight. You need to shine a light on the hidden code on the door to unlock it before using any other tools. Sophia and Lily were taking part in a local crafts fair. They were preparing for months. Sophia was really determined to sell all of her art because she made a bet with her husband. But the weather that day was just terrible. No one showed up to browse or buy anything. After hours of waiting with no customers in sight, both girls got really upset. Finally, they came up with a clever idea of how to sell everything, but without making any money. So, what did they do? Sophia and Lily simply sold their art to each other. Neither of them made a profit or loss. This way, they both technically sold everything. Mom comes home after a long day and immediately notices her favorite vase, the one she inherited from her grandma, shattered on the floor. She calls her three kiddos into the living room: Liam, Mia, and Zoe. None of them admits they did it. Liam says he was reading a book in his room and only came downstairs to greet Mom. Mia claims She was watching TV when she heard the vase breaking into pieces. Zoe says she was sleeping, but the vase drama woke her up. Mom inspected the scene and knew who did it. Can you do the same? Zoe broke the vase. The trail of wet footprints matches the drips from her popsicle, and she definitely wasn't enjoying a popsicle in her sleep. How many riddles did you manage to solve? Let us know in the comments. Carol, Rachel, and Mia are looking to lose some weight before the summer. They've enrolled in gym classes and have been working out every day. The problem is that one of them is in grave danger and has no clue about it. Take a look at the image. Can you guess whose life is on the line? Carol, the one on the left, is doing a great job balancing her weight on top of that ball. Rachel, the one in the middle, is also lifting heavy weights like a pro. And Mia is running fast on that treadmill. But oh no, she's running while chewing gum. That's a terrible idea. Something tragic could happen to her. Kyle and Tom are big wave riders, and they're spending a season in Hawaii. One day, the sea was too strong and knocked them both out of their boards. They were almost drowning when the rescue team arrived with helicopters to save them. One of the surfers is in grave danger, though. Can you guess who? The man on the left, Kyle, is climbing the helicopter ladder with only one of his hands, while the other one is carrying his surfboard. It looks scary, but he's safe. The man on the right, Tom, is struggling to climb the ladder because the ropes are about to break. He's in real danger. Betty was running late for a job interview when she was stopped by an old man on the streets. He said he could tell her the result of her interview if she could solve one of his riddles. She accepted his challenge and told her, "I am a 3-letter word and I can change a girl into a woman. What am I?" Can you help Betty out here? The correct answer is age. And guess what? She'll pass her interview. Pete and Bobby are 2 brothers living on an animal farm. They have a big, adventurous spirit, so they like to tease and play with some of the most dangerous animals around. One day, when they were teasing Ron, the bull, it got so mad that it destroyed the fence and started running after the boys. The boys started running for their lives. Can you guess which one of them is in grave danger? Well, although Bobby is crying and running behind, Pete is wearing a red shirt. The color red irritates the bull's eyes, so Pete is the one in real danger here. Rebecca and Linda are professional Olympic sailors. They set out to cross the Atlantic. In the first week of their crossing, they were hit by a huge storm. Both of their boats capsized and they were thrown into shark-infested waters. One of them is in danger of being eaten by the sharks. Can you tell which one? Both of them look like they're in danger, but Rebecca, on the left, has a huge wound on her arm. The blood she's losing is attracting the sharks, and, well, if rescue doesn't come soon, maybe she won't make it. Mary works as a manager at the local circus. They've been traveling all around the country, and every day they have to set up and put down their scenario. Her task is to supervise the workers so that they do everything according to the company's standards. She arrives at the spot, takes a look at the stage, and freaks out. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out why? Take a closer look at the sign. It says citrus when it should say circus. Oh my. Jerry and Michael went to celebrate their birthdays in a cabin near a lake. They rented kayaks to go explore the lake, but halfway through their ride, they got into a bit of trouble. Both of their kayaks started slowly sinking. Which one do you think will sink first? The first kayak has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water in it. The second one has only 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that got inside. It's definitely the second kayak that's going to sink first. Sue is an undercover detective. During her lunch break, she went to her favorite cafe. There, she saw 3 people that called her attention. She quickly noticed that one of them had probably been poisoned. Take a look at the image. Can you tell who it was? The third guy didn't even drink his cappuccino. He must be just sleeping. The second lady is awake. She has a cappuccino mustache, but that seems fine. The last guy looks off. His phone is ringing off the hook in his pocket, and he's not even budging. That's suspicious. Cindy is a nanny, and she got a new babysitting job taking care of Nims. Nims has lots of toys. She likes to play with the same 3 dolls. One night, Cindy got super scared and ran out of the house screaming, saying one of the dolls was alive. Take a look at them. Can you guess which one? Let's see. The first doll has glowing eyes, but that's just a fun feature. You can see her clothes also have the same thing. The second doll looks normal, but the third doll has wrinkly skin and her face has definitely changed after the first picture. That's the one. Maria is traveling, and she just arrived in a new city. Most of the hotels were booked, so she only found available rooms in an old house. There were 3 rooms for her to choose from. Take a look at the picture. Which one should she pick? Well, so you see the hidden spiders behind the curtains in the first room? That's a big no-go. As for the third room, notice how the AC is set to cold even though it's snowing outside? No to that. So she should definitely pick the second room. It looks pretty clean. Sunny was playing Truth or Dare, and her friends dared her to walk into an abandoned hospital in the middle of the night. To enter, there was a 5-digit combination lock. She looked around for some clues and found a piece of paper with 5 digits: 8, 1, 1, 6, 9. But the code didn't work. Can you tell what she was doing wrong? She was holding the paper upside down. The correct code is 69118. Harry was starving after a full day of work. He walked into a store where 2 chefs were baking cakes. But here's the catch. Only one was safe to eat. Take a look at both of these delicious-looking cakes. Which one is safe? If you have a sharp eye, you'll notice that the chef on the left is a fake, so you shouldn't eat his cake. The left chef has stains all over his shirt that look like blood. Plus, he doesn't have a badge on his shirt. He has a scratch over his eye, and he's hiding a syringe in his hand behind his back. There are just too many red flags here. Johnny and Miriam have a social media channel dedicated to exploring haunted houses. One Friday night, they went to a new location to film. The house they chose was falling apart, and they could hear cries coming from it. Miriam entered through the front door, while Johnny went straight to the basement. Take a look at the image. Who is in greater danger? It's Johnny. If the house decided to crumble right that instant, it would definitely hurt him. Jesse and Flo are influencers. They got a call from a brand to do a last-minute photo shoot. They got into their car and drove to the location. On the way, they were stopped by a police checkpoint. They had to get out of the vehicle for an inspection, but Jesse noticed something strange. That police officer was a fake. How could he tell? The cop was wearing a ripped shirt, but that was not the real issue. His badge said City Police with a U instead of an O. Big trouble there, buddy. Brandy was an old woman that loved making up her own riddles and asking random people to solve them. She met a couple on the street and asked them, "What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?" The couple looked confused, but they nailed the answer. Can you figure it out? The answer is the letter M.
Okay, you ready for some brain-stumping riddles? Well, ready or not, here we go. Today's the final of the school's Olympics. 3 swimmers are standing at the edge of the pool, waiting for their chance to jump in and win the race. Take a good look at the competitors. Which one of them do you think will win this race? The first guy has dark bags under his eyes, which means he's exhausted. This will slow him down. The third guy isn't wearing the proper swim cap, which can also slow him down. So, the guy in the middle will probably win. 3 women are doing their regular yoga exercises at the park. They look innocent, but one of them recently escaped prison and is an extremely dangerous person. Can you figure out who it is? If you have sharp eyes, you'll see that the woman in the middle is wearing an all-black yoga outfit, and beside her, she has a black and white striped overall. That's her prison clothes. She's still carrying it around with her. On a Friday night, there were only 2 nurses on duty working at the hospital. One of them prescribed the wrong medicine to a patient. The doctor in charge is trying to figure out which one of the nurses is a fake. Can you help him out? The blonde nurse looks innocent, but something is off with the brunette nurse. Her uniform is not official. On her name tag, she has a red star instead of the plus sign, which is the official symbol for nursing. Mike and Bob are professional tennis players. It's their last match. Whoever wins it takes home the trophy cup. One of them is bound to lose, though. Can you guess which one? Bob, with the blue shirt, looks tired, but looks like he can play a good match. Mike, with the red shirt, is carrying an electrified racket. It doesn't look like he can win anything with that. A patient with the flu went to a local hospital to see a doctor. There were 3 doctors available to check him out, but one of the doctors didn't look too legit. Can you guess which one? The guy on the left has some blood on his jacket, but you can see he has a nosebleed. The guy on the right is trying to hide something. If you look closely, he's hiding a box full of his real clothes. He's a fraud. Bobby was setting off to college, so she decided to drive herself from New York to Boston. When she arrived at the campus, she noticed that one of her tires was punctured. Somehow, she managed to make it all the way without having to stop to change it. How? That's because the tire that was punctured was her spare tire. Ryan was skateboarding in the park when he fell down and hurt his head. By the time he woke up, there were 3 different women saying they were her sister and saying they would take him home. Can you tell who Ryan's real sister is here? For starters, Ryan is brunette and there's only one brunette woman. The other ones are blonde. Plus, they're both wearing a bracelet that says Smiths, which must be their last name. Sarah and David are late for work. They left their house in a hurry to get to the bus station on time. One of them is definitely not going to be able to catch that bus. Can you tell which one of them it is just by looking at the picture? David is trying to catch a bus that's already left the station, which means he may or may not succeed in doing. But Sarah is running in the opposite direction of the bus. I mean, she's not catching that ride. Mrs. Franny is a beloved history teacher who loves to teach through riddles. She asked her students the following question. A person is 25 years old in the year 2000 and 20 years old in 2005. How is this possible? Can you answer this question? It's possible because the person lived before the common era we're living in now, and years were counted in a different way. Sarah is an influencer, and she interviews millionaires, asking them how and when they earned their first million. She boarded a train in Paris, looking for the next person to interview. Inside the train cabin, there were 3 people that looked really rich, except that one of them was faking it. Can you tell who? The first woman is carrying a designer bag that looks legit. The elderly man is wearing a really expensive suit. But if you look closely, the blonde man's sweater has a tag written polyester in it. That's such a cheap material. He's definitely not rich. Mark and Lisa said they could bring cakes to their office parties, but both of them are having a tough time baking the cake. Can you figure out who is having a worse time baking it, though? Mark is trying to mix ingredients, but doesn't have a blender to mix. And Lisa's doing the same, but the oven won't turn on, so Lisa is having the worst time. Mark can mix it with a spoon, but Lisa can't cook without an oven. Becca and Emily were freshmen in university. They needed to pass a challenge to get into a very selective sorority. The test was to pick 25 red apples, 47 green apples, and 3 yellow apples in a huge garden. Who do you think is doing a worse job here? It's Becca, the girl on the left. She thinks she is picking apples, but she is picking pears. She should have noticed they were a different shape. Martha is getting married, and she invited her bridesmaids for a dress fitting. The girls went to the shop to get their dresses measured. They were beyond happy to see their friend living her dream. Martha was happy that Bridget, her pregnant friend, could join as well. Can you figure out which of the girls is Bridget? Oh, it's the lady eating the pie, of course. She's definitely having one of those irresistible craving moments. Bob is the CEO of his own company. He is known to be the best boss around, which is why his employees decided to throw him a surprise party for his birthday. One of the employees is Jenna, Bob's sister. She's the one leading the whole thing. Take a look at the picture. Can you figure out which one of them is Jenna? Although Bob's looking at the woman on the right, his sister is on the left. They both have the same birthmark on their necks. Good eye if you caught that. Sandy and Priscilla are longtime friends, and they meet every Wednesday for tea. This week, one of the ladies took Jake, her younger son, along. Can you figure out who Jake's biological mother is just by looking at the picture? It's Sandy, the woman on the left. She's got the same hair color as Jake. Plus, she's got a necklace with the letter J on it. It was Paula's wedding and everyone was beyond excited. One of the bridesmaids had just caught the bouquet and was happily talking to the other ladies about it. Can you figure out who caught the bouquet? It's the lady on the left. If you notice, she's surrounded by bees, who were definitely attracted by the flower's pollen. Bibi, Jenna, Miriam, and Jackie were called to the principal's office. It started to rain just before they got to school, and one of the ladies got in at the last minute. Their shoes got wet and they stained the principal's carpet. Judging by the looks of it, who stained the principal's carpet? It was Miriam, the third lady in the middle. She's the one wearing high-heeled boots, and if you look closely, that's the shape that matches the footprints. You get all those right? Good for you! James is a journalist who loves solving difficult crimes. He heard on the news about a mysterious disappearance of pets all over town, so he decided to investigate for himself. He started by visiting a park, where most pets have disappeared over the past week. By looking at the image, can you tell who's responsible for the disappearances? The old lady looks pretty innocent, and that young couple is too busy arguing. But the guy sitting on the bench has a dog collar hidden in his pocket, but no dog. He's the culprit. The following week, he heard rumors about a small supermarket that was selling expired products to their client. So he went to investigate it more closely. He examined the cookies, the soft drinks, and the bottles of milk. Can you figure out if the market is really committing a crime here? Take a look at the milk. The expired milk is hiding behind the regular milk. It's more yellow than the new ones. Guess they imagined people would buy it sooner or later. One of James' friends invited him to go to a festival to investigate a serious case. They were serving expensive dishes with absurdly low-quality ingredients. They tasted the food of a few stalls before they could identify which chef was sabotaging the food. Can you tell? The stalls look fine, but the last chef is suspicious. On the back of his stall, you can see the amount of flies flying over his ingredients. They are poorly conserved, out of the fridge, and probably gone sour by now. Ew. An important art gallery premiered a new show filled with expensive paintings of a new artist. Only regulars came to check it out, but by the end of the night, one of the paintings had disappeared. Can you help James check the security tapes and figure out who did it? These three elderly men look suspicious. One of them is wearing a hat indoors, which is weird but stylish. The second is wearing sunglasses at night. But the third one, with a stooped back, well, no one's back is that rectangular. He must have hid the painting under his coat behind his back. A horrible crime happened in James' neighborhood, and a person was severely hurt. James went over to check the crime scene. There were 3 women in the house. One was cleaning, one was investigating, and one was taking photos. Can you guess who's guilty here? Check the details. The one who was cleaning had a stained cloth with a red stain on it that looks like blood, but it's just the paint from the wall that came off a bit. While the one taking the photos has a shiny object in her bag. If you look closely, it's a sharp knife that matches the object used in the crime. One night, James decided to go out for dinner when he ran into one of his exes, Maria. He noticed she was out on a date with another guy, but was hurt because they had broken up just a few weeks ago. Take a good look at the picture. Can you help James figure out which guy Maria is on a date with? From the two guys standing on the bar's counter, Maria's date is the guy on the left. He's holding a gift in his hand, and if you look closely, the tag says, "From Pete to Maria." So he's the one. James was getting so good at solving mysteries that a game show host invited him to be on the lookout for potential saboteurs of the show. One night, 3 contestants were invited to pick up a bar of gold from a bowl filled with piranhas. James noticed that one of the contestants was cheating. Can you figure out which one? It's the guy in the middle. He switched the fish from his bowl. If you look closely, they're more golden than the other ones. That's because it's another species, not as dangerous as piranhas. Faye just came back from living abroad, and she invited James to her welcome back party. During the night, the lights went out, the music stopped, and someone screamed they were being robbed. James spent the rest of the night looking at the security footage to identify the robber. Can you help him figure out who it was? It was the girl dancing on the left corner. Take a close look at her pocket. Before the lights went out, there was nothing there. Then, it has something in the shape of a necklace in there. Friday night, James went to a concert of one of his favorite bands. But the concert was over an hour later because one of its members simply disappeared. When she finally appeared, the crowd shouted she didn't look like herself. James figured out she, in fact, wasn't herself, but the band was trying to cover it. Take a look at the evidence. How did James figure it out? The first picture shows the original band. The guitar player is blonde and doesn't have a pimple on her face. That night, the guitar player was brunette, way taller, and had pimples. It's finals week at Crestwood Academy, and the tension was sky high. On the day of the biology exam, the principal decided to invite James to supervise all the classrooms. When he strolled into room 5A, he immediately spotted someone up to no good and got them suspended on the spot. Check out the classroom and see if you can figure out who is cheating. It's the student with a smartwatch. He's looking at his watch to get the answers to the exam. There was a recent break-in at Mr. O'Reilly's store. Luckily, James was around to solve the crime. He noticed one small but very important detail from the security footage that solved the mystery. Take a look at the images. Can you figure out who the thief is? Now let's see, that guy is just carrying around a baguette. The one near the fridge has normal groceries in her cart. And the last guy is holding a lettuce in his hands. But hey, take a look at the lettuce. It has such a weird shape. In fact, it has a banana inside of it. The guy was trying to sneak out with a banana and a lettuce. He's the thief, definitely. James' boss, Roberto, got arrested. There was something illegal inside his bag, but he claims it wasn't his. James went to investigate the case. He checked the security cameras and saw that 2 people walked inside Roberto's office while he was out for lunch. One of them put something inside his bag. Can you guess who? The first woman stopped by the window to clean it, but she didn't touch the bag, while the second bent to throw something in the trash and discreetly placed something inside his bag. She's the culprit. James got a call from a gift shop. The owner told him a robber came in dressed as the Joker. But since it was Halloween, a lot of people were walking around dressed up like that. James took a snapshot of the security footage and tracked 3 suspects. Take a look at the image. Can you guess which Joker is the real thief? The thief is the Joker on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it. James finally decided to run a marathon. Right before the finish line, he did his best and outran the person who was running in second place. Somehow, he still didn't finish first. Why? This is what happened. He was fast enough to outrun the person who was going to come in second place, but not fast enough to outrun the person who finished first. Noah, James' roommate, got his motorbike stolen straight from their garage. James started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is dripping, and one can spot the old green color. He must have stolen it and painted it a different color so as not to attract any attention.
3 cats can catch 3 mice in 3 minutes. How long will it take 10 cats to catch 10 mice? The same 3 minutes. No more, no less. There are 100 books on the shelf. To count off 10 of them, you need 10 seconds. How much time will you spend counting off 80 books? Just 20 seconds. You'll need this time to count off 20 books, and the rest will make 80. Smart, right? Even when it passes in front of the sun, it doesn't cast a shadow. What is it? It's the wind. Now let's get down to some serious stuff. Someone stole the money Michael kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Hannah said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Liam told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, partying all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Liam. He was suspiciously specific about the time. A man came to a jewelry store planning to buy an expensive diamond ring for his wife, but someone stole his wallet right in the store. The manager called the police and asked all the visitors who were inside at the time to stay until the officer's arrival. The police arrived and examined the people attentively. Soon, they knew who had taken the wallet. Can you figure it out too? It's the man in the middle. He has a bandage on his right arm, but it's wrapped over the sleeve of his jacket, not hidden under it like a real bandage would be. Detective Theodore Mitchell worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Theodore's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Theodore had to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? The code was 30. there are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines, it means the whole thing looks like this. A police officer knocks on the door. A man opens it. The officer informs the man that a plant pot fell out of his window an hour ago and hit a woman on the head. She's not badly hurt, but now the man needs to compensate this woman for the damage. The man lets the officer inside, but argues that the situation can't be true. He claims that his windows were closed an hour ago because he has just returned home. The officer knows that the man is lying. How has he figured it out? The police officer spotted a pan with boiling water in the kitchen. If the man indeed came home just a few minutes ago, the water wouldn't have had enough time to start boiling. 3 men were swimming in the sea. The weather was getting worse, and a coast guard asked them to leave the water. But when they got back to the shore, only 2 of the men had wet hair. Why? The third man was bald. A gust of wind blew a $100 bill out of the hands of a grocery store owner. The money seemed to have vanished into thin air. But in reality, one of the customers must have taken the bill. But no one wanted to admit to stealing the money. The woman was especially indignant and suggested that her bag should be checked. A security guard asked her to follow him to the office, but she refused to go. After that, the guard called the police. Why? The woman was standing on the $100 bill. If she followed the guard, everyone would see the money. A man found himself on an island inhabited by a tribe of savages. The tribespeople locked him in a house with only 2 exits. One of the doors led to freedom, while the other led to demise. 2 guards were in the house with him. One of them always told the truth, and the other always lied. The man was allowed to ask only one question to one of them. Of course, he didn't know which of them was the honest person and which one was the liar. What question should he ask to find the correct exit and save his life? The question he should ask is, what would your companion say if I asked which door leads to freedom? No matter who he asks, the answer will always be the wrong door. So, he should open the opposite door. It'll lead to freedom. One day, posters were put up in one of Prague's main squares. They read, "Beware of pickpockets." The local police knew that there were indeed many pickpockets in the area, but they actively tore down these posters. Why? There were many tourists in this square. The pickpockets themselves put up these posters. This made their job easier. People who read the announcement would instinctively check their valuables to make sure they were still there. At that moment, the thieves would watch them and figure out exactly where their targets kept their belongings. The police, realizing this trick, tore down the posters to prevent people from unknowingly helping the thieves rob them. Mary lived in a luxurious mansion. One day, she discovered that all her jewelry had mysteriously disappeared. The police arrived at the crime scene and realized that the theft had occurred very recently. They questioned 4 people who were in the house at the time of the incident. The gardener said he'd been tending the flower beds in the garden all morning. His hands were covered in green and brown stains from plants and soil. The builder claimed he'd been working in the yard, repairing the fence. His hands had splinters and small scratches. Mary's niece stated that she had been swimming in the pool all morning. And the maid said she had been cleaning the windows, so she was still wearing silicone gloves. The detective asked everyone to show their hands and immediately realized who was lying. Who is the thief? The niece. If she had really been in the pool all morning, her fingers would have been wrinkled. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. A precious 16th century brooch has been stolen from its glass display case in a museum. The only person who has entered it is the cleaning lady, Mrs. Douglas, who's been working there for 20 years. After examining the crime scene, the detective, who has come to investigate the case, arrests Mrs. Douglas. Why? Mrs. Douglas's habit let her down. After breaking the display case and taking the brooch, she carefully cleaned up the glass shards. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it, but there was a problem. They found not one, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original. The others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All frames in the museum are made in the same style. In space, making the wrong decision can cost you your life. But if you solve all the riddles, you'll be safe. To activate the navigation system and return to Earth, you need to enter a 3-digit code. You'll need to answer 3 questions to find the correct numbers. How many planets are there in our solar system? What is our planet from the Sun? How many satellites does Mars have? The code is 832. There are 8 planets in the solar system. Earth is the 3rd from the Sun. Mars has 2 satellites, Phobos and Deimos. At a research base on the moon Titan, one of the crew members turns out to be an extraterrestrial spy. Here are the suspects. An engineer who claims to be able to breathe the local air without a spacesuit. A cyberneticist with different eyes. An astrobiologist whose hands are constantly cold. The engineer who says they can breathe on Titan without problems can't be human. The atmosphere here is not suitable for breathing for us. Oh no! 2 astronauts are floating in open space near their spacecraft. Only one of them is tethered to the ship. Who will reach it first? Or maybe they'll do it at the same time. The tethered astronaut will reach the ship first. They can pull themselves along the rope, controlling their movement and speed. The untethered astronaut can't move independently unless they push off something. If they do push off, they will move toward the ship but won't be able to adjust their trajectory or speed. 2 female astronauts on the orbital station seem suspicious. One is always smiling and pretends to act normal. The other one, who is also smiling but always keeping her hands in her pockets. Which of them isn't human? The correct answer is the blonde astronaut. The edge of green fur right here is a clear clue. She hides her furry ears and wears a spacesuit even inside the station, so as not to give away her true nature. Astronauts on board the ISS complete an orbit of Earth every 90 minutes. They move from the bright side into the shadow, and then back to the side of sunlight. So how many sunrises and sunsets do they see every Earth day? 16 times. You just need to divide 24 by 1.5. You're on a spacewalk to repair a satellite, but a sudden bang throws you away from the ship. Your maneuvering system is out of order. How will you get back? You can wait for help, staying still. You can try to move your arms and legs, trying to swim back. Or you can drop one of the tools and push off from it. There's no air in space, so flapping your arms is useless. But throwing a heavy object in the opposite direction will give you momentum in the right direction. You are an astronaut on a damaged spaceship, and your navigation system is down. The only clue left is a message from an unknown intelligence. Your mission control tells you this code is using a simple letter-number system. Which planet should you set your course toward? It's Mercury. You receive an alert. A giant asteroid, 7 miles wide, is hurtling towards Earth. A scientist suggests, let's launch a satellite to orbit the asteroid and use solar sails to gradually alter its trajectory. A mechanic says, let's attach thrusters to the asteroid to nudge it off course over time. An astronaut offers to send a spacecraft with gravitational tractors to tow the asteroid away from Earth's path. Which course of action will you choose? Listen to the scientist. Using solar sails or reflective paint can change the asteroid's trajectory through the Yarkovsky effect, gradually deviating it from Earth's path without causing damage. 3 planets sent you a signal offering to land there. The first one responded with a quick hand gesture. The second was silent and nodded. And the third one simply laughed. Which is the best place to go? The silent nod is the most universal gesture of agreement, so it's probably the safest option. A quick hand gesture can be either a greeting or a warning, and laughter without an explanation could mean some unpredictable civilization. There are 3 black holes in front of your ship, a small one, a large one, and a giant one. All of them suck in light and matter, but only one of them is a portal. Which one should you choose? Go for the giant black hole. The blue light is the radiation of a tunnel to another dimension, passing through its center. The small black hole is spinning so rapidly, its gravity will tear apart even light. The larger black hole is almost motionless, like an eternal trap. Space travelers are looking for a good place to land. There are 3 planets ahead of them, but 2 of them hide a serious danger. What planet should they choose? They should opt for the bright green planet with normal vegetation. The black forest on the first planet is the giant tentacles of a creature waiting for prey. The bumps on the second planet are the eyes of a colossal monster that could wake up at any moment. Suddenly you realize you're being pulled toward another black hole. Your only chance is to act fast before you cross the point of no return. You have 3 possible choices. Fire your engines at full power and try to fly straight away from the black hole. Use your thrusters to move sideways, trying to orbit around it and slingshot away. Eject all your cargo to make your ship lighter and escape gravity. What is it going to be? The second option is the safest. Trying to fly straight away is useless because the gravity is too strong. Ejecting cargo won't make a big difference in this case either. Your oxygen tank is leaking, and you have only 10 minutes of air left. You find 3 emergency oxygen tanks, but only one is safe to use. Which tank should you choose to survive? If Tank C is telling the truth, then Tank A is lying, meaning it's not 100% safe. That would mean Tank B is the safe one. But if Tank C is lying, that still makes Tank A unsafe. Either way, Tank B is your best choice. 2 space crews are competing. Who will make it to Saturn faster? Looks like one captain managed to take his spaceship there first. This selfie is supposed to prove it, but something feels off here. Can you see it? Saturn is famous for its rings, and there are clearly no rings in the photo. The captain must have forgotten about it with his desire to win. Your spaceship's navigation system is fried, and you need to get back to Earth. You find a map with 3 route options. Route A is the shortest path, but it takes you through an asteroid field. Route B is longer, but it orbits a black hole. Route C is the longest, but guaranteed safe. Which route should you take? Go for Route B. If you stay outside the event horizon and use the black hole's gravity to slingshot forward, you can travel much faster than the other routes. Your spaceship is losing power and you need to fix it fast. You find 2 wires. The red wire powers life support, but may cause an overload. The blue wire has an unknown function but looks safe and undamaged. Which wire should you connect first? Go for the red wire. Without life support, you won't survive long enough to fix the engine. Once life support is working, you can carefully repair the other systems. It didn't work, so you need to escape, but the only way out is through one of 3 doors. Door 1 leads to a broken gravity-free tunnel where you'll float endlessly. Door 2 leads to an airlock with no suit, meaning you won't last a second. Door 3 leads to a vacuum chamber with an emergency switch for gravity. Door number 3 is the one. If you can hold your breath for a few seconds, you can reach the gravity switch and escape before the vacuum pulls you out. Congrats! You've returned to Earth safely.